It's too close to dinner. It would be a shame.
No, don't eat it. We're rolling down. Hold on.
Mr. McMorrow? You got it?
So explain to me. Just describe it for me again. All right. So we're talking about those. When I drove you up there last time, did anything look familiar?
No. It's altogether different.
Yeah, I knew it would be.
It was all farmland there. Let me see. When we drove up the last time, I always went...
So start from where you're talking.
Let me do it my way.
Hold on, just so I get it clear. The street that the ice rink was on.
Let me explain to you. This way you know everything I know about this.
Okay.
Every time I went there, I came up the street going to that street. Here's the street going to the ice rink.
Okay.
This...
Was the Garden State Parkway there yet? Or not even built yet?
I don't know if it was built or not, but I didn't know it. I never seen the Garden State Parkway.
Okay.
I used to always come the same way up through Rivervale, right up Rivervale Road, and then I wind up coming down this road here. This was the field, the cornfield, that I always... The well is back here. This time I came, and it looked kind of wet and everything, so I used to just drive right off the road, drive back in, and turn the car around and face this way. So I always knew, even if a cop car came by and seen me from here, by the time he got back here, I was gone into the woods. So I never brought my car there. So this time, I went up to here, and I went around this way. And my intention was to see if this was drier. And then, now on the other side, just like this, right from here, that was all swamp or woods, whatever. So this time I went, now the three houses I'm talking about are here, here, and here. So I pulled the car up this way. And I went in, I said, let me try over here, maybe I'll find a new... And when I went in about 40 or 50 feet, the car stopped. I got stuck in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
So we stayed there about 10, 15 minutes. I was talking, I was trying to decide what to do. The cop car came up this way. And then he went by, and then I seen him back up. So I knew he spotted the car in there. So I got out of the car with her, and I ran into the woods. I didn't even know where I was going. Now there was dogs in these houses started barking, either from me or the cop car or whatever. So that's what triggered. So now I said, let me go over that way. So I stopped here, and she started screaming. She heard the cop car, and she's screaming. The cops were up there, they couldn't see where the screaming was coming from, but they were by the empty car. But we were now 40 or 50 feet into the woods.
And the empty car is the victim's car.
Right.
It's her car.
Right. Her car was right around here. We're back here. I could see the cops because they had flashlights and everything, but they couldn't see me. But they could hear her screaming. So I panicked and I stabbed her. Or I tried to shut her up, and then I took off and I ran behind this house, and between these two houses, because the dogs were backing from this house, and I came back across here. Now the cops were out here, flashlights then, I ran right, they didn't see me. And I ran this way, so they're thinking I'm still running into the woods. I came back the other way. And when I ran from that second house, I ran, I would say a straight line, maybe it's, a little curved or anything, I almost fell over the well.
Okay.
So if you get the address of this house,
It's directly opposite.
it's directly out from the end of the house, it's almost directly opposite, and I would say 150 to 175 yards in. You'd have it there. Now, it looked like there's a whole new house in this development there.
All right, and let me just back you. This street here, that's the street that it's the Montvale ice skating rink that used to be on that street.
Down here further.
All right, so that's down here for. But you're sure you weren't over the New York line yet?
No, because my uncle lives up the other way. Remember I took you up the road?
Like Upper Saddle River or something he lives in?
Well, that is Upper Saddle River.
But if you kept going this way, Rockland County is right here.
Right.
But you're sure that the ice rink is here, but you were still in Montvale?
Oh, yeah. This whole area was my killing ground, if you want to call it that. So I knew the area. Then when I ran, like I said, I almost tripped over, I had a big piece of corrugated metal over it. And then I ran out here, and I got back on this road. I ran over through the woods and everything, behind some other houses here, and I ran on this road, and that's how, and I walked all the way back to Westwood. That's why I know, if you find out where that girl, where they write up the girl, then you get land records, you'll know the exact, right to the inch where this second house was.
Right.
Because the houses aren't there no more. Because we went by, there was no houses there, I don't think. If I would have seen 3 houses, I would have said, yeah, this is it.
Well, there might be 3 houses, but there might be 100 next to them now.
They were old farmhouses.
Okay. Yeah, it's not
If
the
you get
same
the
anymore.
report to that, and they
So,
went,
let me backtrack a minute. So, just for the girl so, you're positive you abducted that girl from the Bergen Mall? That's the mall that you kept...
well, I can't say that.
Okay.
It was either that, I'm 90% sure it was the Bergen Mall, but it could have been the Garden State Mall.
Okay. But it's one of the malls...
Oh, one of those two.
Okay.
Guaranteed 100%. It was about, it was dark. I would say it was probably about 6:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30.
And give me just approximate year. When did you move to Lodi?
Moved from Lodi?
No, to Lodi. So at this point, did you still live in Rivervale?
No, I used to live in Little Ferry.
Oh, right, okay.
I used to live in Little Ferry from 1970 to like 73, I think.
Okay.
And then I moved to Lodi,
Prior to 70, where were you living?
Riverville.
Right, that's what I thought. So when this happened, though, were you living in Rivervale or Little
I
Ferry?
don't remember. I think, no, I definitely wasn't living in Riverville.
Okay, so then you think it had to be after 1970 then?
No, I definitely was, then it would have to be after 1970, the early 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. No, but because what I did was, see, okay, there's a diner on Route 4. It was a pretty famous diner back then, and probably still there. Okay, which
The diner was near the Bergen Mall?
what I did was I parked my car. It's a 24-hour diner. That's where I parked my car. I've done this a couple times. So my car would be, if I didn't come back for a day, there's always people coming and going. Then I would go in. The diner had a.
Use the next thing here. It's not much of a diner.
Yes. Route 4, I wouldn't be surprised if the diner, there's Forest Avenue right down to Route 4?
Mm-hmm. There used to be a diner on the corner of Forest Avenue and Route 4.
If the building's still there, but it's not a diner.
And opposite that diner, if you go across the highway this way...
Was there a walkway?
Yeah.
Yes.
Goes over to the
Bergen Mall.
Right.
Guaranteed the Bergen Mall. Because that's what I did. I parked my car there and I walked across the thing into the mall. Then I walked around the mall.
And how did you get her? How did you end up getting her back in her car? Anything that helps me?
No, she was getting into a car and I just pushed my way in.
Okay.
That's how I always...
And then you take her car.
Then I pushed my way in. I handcuffed her. I tied her up. And then we just drove up to Montvale.
Okay. So then once you're up this way, and you're solid, you're rock solid, this is Montvale?
I'm not, okay, the only thing I can say, I'm rock solid about this whole thing. 90% sure that's the intersection. I can't believe there's any other intersection. But when we
Well,
drove...
you just drew like a little street going this way. There is a particular street that's still there where this comes up. As you go across Chestnut Ridge Road, there's a 45-degree angle going this way, and then the street continues up this way, going into Upper Saddle River and Route 17, going towards Route 17.
Well,
But I don't know if it was like that back then.
I did this, that's the direction where my uncle lives. In other words, at this intersection here, if I made a right turn, that's when we went down to where my uncle lived.
Okay.
About a mile down there. That's why I knew the area. That's why I'm 95%. That has to be the intersection.
Okay.
It's just that it looks so different now. I mean,
But you're positive this is off of Chestnut Ridge Road, or off of the street where the Montvale ice skating rink was on? The Montvale ice rink was on Chestnut Ridge Road.
almost certain.
Okay.
You know, you're putting doubts in my head.
No, I don't want to put
I know you don't want it, but
Being a guy from Rivervale, I would think you would know when you were in Montvale. That's why I just want to be sure.
No, not really.
Okay.
No, but like I said, I went to this place 20 times.
Mhm.
But I always would come up here and then, see, I could only go during the winter. That's another thing. It had to be a cold month because during the summer, this was all corn. You couldn't drive over it.
Okay.
So in the winter, it was all cut down. You know, I'm not saying it could have been fall, but I mean, it had to, not summer or anything when the corn was growing. And I always would come up and then just drive right across the field, turn around, and it's fine. You know, I might be over here one time here, but it was always usually within 50 feet. It was beautiful because I could command this whole view.
Mhm.
And I could, you know, and there was no traffic. I mean, maybe a car would go by every 10 minutes. That's how little traffic was back then.
Mhm.
It was all cornfield, all woods and cornfield. There was no, the only light was at this corner.
There was a traffic signal there?
There was a traffic signal. I think it used to just blink. I don't think it was a red and green. I think it was like a
Flashing yellow.
like a flashing yellow or flashing red type thing.
Okay.
So they didn't have to actually come to a stop.
Go back so I can research this a little better. You mentioned you stabbed her. Do you know for sure? Like
Yeah.
how many times you stabbed her or anything like that?
One time,
Okay.
right in the face.
Oh, it was definitely in the face.
Because she was screaming, I just panicked.
Okay.
I was just trying to stop her from screaming.
And she would have been tied up in some way?
At that point, I don't even know if she might have even been loose. I might have untied her, because we were in the car for about 10, 15 minutes before that, because I didn't know what to do. I couldn't back out, I couldn't go forward.
Right.
So I didn't know what to, I didn't want to hurt her head, that, I wouldn't have done that, so.
Mhm.
And if the cop car didn't come by, I don't know what I would have done. In fact, I was thinking both of us get out and push the car. I can tell you, she was dressed, and she had a suit on. She had like a suit jacket and a tie.
A tie?
Yeah, a tie.
About how old is she?
Early 20s, I would say.
Okay.
Dark hair.
You love dark hair. You,
The funny thing is, most of my victims dark, but I like blonde too.
so, alright, I have some things to work with on that. What kind of car? Any idea what kind of car it was?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It was a regular, I mean, it wasn't stick, that I know, but
Now, tell me about the well. How did you ever first find the well?
in the beginning, I wanted to find a place to drop the body. But see, I always like to drop them near the side of the street so I can be found there easy. And most of them, sign over the thing. Almost all mine were. But in the beginning, I didn't think that way. But then I think, I didn't want these people rotting,
Mm-hmm.
So I got a little sentimental. I said, if you drop them near the street, somebody will find them in a day or two. But I walked, I might have just got out to take the leak or something. But I walked back. You could walk from this field. This field was all solid. There was no water, no wood, no swamp. But when you walk back in here, after you got about 40, 50 feet, it turned to swamp. Where there's actually water, you couldn't actually walk dry. And I was walking back there to see if I could find a place to, hide a body.
Were you by yourself when you first discovered it? Like you were just on like a scouting mission, or did you actually have a body in there that first time? Do you know?
I had a body.
Okay.
And I had the first time I seen it, I didn't know what it was. That's what it was. I walked on it, and it was tin. It was like a galvanized round type,
Like corrugated?
Yeah, it was like I'd say 8 foot long, 10 foot long, 5 foot wide. So it was a big piece. Because I walked on it, I realized it said ground no more, and it was like metal. But it was pitch black. I couldn't see what it was. I didn't have no flashlight. I never carried a flashlight or a light or anything. The next time I came back, I was earlier. It was only about 8 o'clock at night. It was still dark, but it was early. It was lighter, or the moon was out or something. So I went back to see what it was. And I seen it was a metal piece. So I moved it, and I couldn't see nothing. It was pitch black. So I dropped the rock. I went down, it sounded like 100 feet, but we're down about 20 feet, 15, 20 feet. And I seen the side of it was like a well. It looked like, but not brick, like stone or old cinder block or something, like an old-time cistern or something that somebody covered up so nobody would fall in. And then I said, hey, this is a good spot. Then I remember the 3 girls were dropped in there, and then I said, I started thinking about them rotting there. I said, nah. That's why I started dropping them by the side of the streets.
So you only used that well for 3 bodies.
Just 3.
This would have been the 4th one, but she got away.
I don't know if I was going to put her in there. Because after those 3 were in there, I went back there many times, but I never put nobody else in there.
Okay.
So I don't know. It wasn't always planned. It was, just how things came out, I don't know if we would, if this wasn't, it just looked different to me that time. I thought I might get stuck. That's why I went around the other way. I would have went back. I don't know if I would have dropped her in the well as the 4th one or not. But I brought quite a few others after that I didn't. After that 3, I never went back to that well.
But you would go back to this field.
Oh, then yeah.
And then you would just go dump the body somewhere else.
Right.
Okay. The three girls that are in the well. Any ideas to help with those? Like, do you remember them at all?
No.
Where they came from, how they were killed, anything?
One was a hooker. One was a hooker that I picked up in Little Ferry. There was a hooker bar there in Little Ferry I used to go into. And I'm pretty sure. And one was a waitress. I remember she was a waitress.
From where?
I don't know. Local in the area, but I don't know where. I think she was young too, I think. I'm not sure. And the other girl could be a blonde from Atlantic City, but I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. I'm mixed up over. It just sometimes it was one after the other, and then sometimes for 6 months I didn't do it.
What would have made you bring a girl from Atlantic City all the way up here? Did you go down there?
Yeah, I was in Atlantic City.
What would have made you bring her all the way up here?
So that's where I brought them all. That's what I'm saying. Almost everyone was, not all of them,
Right.
but almost everyone was
So let's assume for a minute that you killed a girl in this field. Forget the well for a minute. You kill a girl in this field. What would you do then? You just take a dead body and put it in your car to go dump it somewhere?
Well, I would, if I was in her car, I would just go different places. You know, I've gone up to New York State. I've driven from there all the way down to the end of Long Island.
How would you get back?
What?
How would you get back? If you
I would just drop the body and then come back with the car.
Okay.
And drop the car wherever. Sometimes it would be in my own car. But I never drove my own car across there. I was always afraid of getting stuck. I always knew if I got stuck, I could just run.
Right.
I never took my car in there. Like I said, a lot of times I would leave it in the 24-hour diner. It was beautiful. The car could stay there forever.
Right.
Nobody ever know. Nobody looked for it, and I always knew once I make it back to that diner, I'm okay. And that one on Route there had a big back parking lot. Had a little small one on the front facing the Route 4, but in the back was enormous, like 70, 80 cars could fit there. It was a good, nice diner. Good food in there. But I would always figure that's why nobody ever knew what was going on, because I would drive 3 hours out to Montauk, leave a body there. Next time I'd go there, well, down the turnpike until I couldn't go no further to travel, leave a body there. So there was never connected, never 2 or 3 until the very end where I started getting stupid.
Mm. What do you think, what year is the first, do you think? Do you have it in your head, or you have no idea?
I can knock it down to 1 or 2 years.
What do you think? How far back?
67. 60, maybe the end of 66. 67.
It's a lot of years of running around.
A lot of states too.
Yeah. Do you have a number in your head that you think? Did you ever sit back and think about it?
It's sad to say I couldn't count that high. They start to get jumbled. I would say there's well over 80.
You think that many?
Well over. I've done some in Florida, Connecticut, a lot in New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Baltimore. Any place within driving distance that was not connected to me, I would try. My whole thing was not to make a pattern, which I never did. And never to try to kill them the exact same way, or to, leave a signature. I wasn't stupid, and other than that one time in Hackensack where just luck, I would have been caught there.
Right.
I was never even close to getting caught, other than that one time.
Where'd you end up dumping that girl after that cop stopped you?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't even remember who she was, but I was coming back from Montvale at the time. And that's what it was at. I was coming down River Road. And I was during the day too. And I never really did anything during the day, but it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. So I can remember certain little facts about everything until I start thinking, then something might pop in. But a lot of runaways. See, a lot of the girls were hitchhikers, runaways.
There was a lot of hitchhikers back then too.
Oh, everybody hitchhiked. Every day going to work, I used to get more rides. Let's see, that was the thing with me. I wasn't a serial killer. No,
You just told me you think you killed over 80. That fits the definition pretty well.
no, it doesn't.
But I know what you said, because you've told me in the past, there's been many more that you let go.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
I didn't go out to kill somebody. Most anyone I killed was when I would be somehow connected to them, and I didn't want to get caught. There was more than just not getting caught. I was just thinking about myself.
What do you mean connected? Meaning like somebody might have seen her get in a
like
car, or...
Yeah, like in the Bergen Mall. I walked around the mall. I walked that parking lot, followed her into the parking lot. Anybody could have sit in the car. To me, in my mind, I don't know if anybody's seen me. You know, that to me, you know, like I tell you, one time in Atlantic City, I met a girl in resorts. She went with me, and I brought her back up here. In my mind, hey, I could be on a camera down there or whatever. So those were the ones I couldn't leave. But if the girl wasn't dangerous to me, I never went out to kill.
Mhm.
That's why I said I'm not really like a standard serial killer. I didn't get no enjoyment out of someone. And that's the truth. Never had no enjoyment. It was very hard.
So what was the thrill? Was it more rape? Control? Tying up?
No, it was the game. It was being able to get away with it. The stalking. To be able to do it was like the perfect murder every time. You see something in the paper, a body was trying to hit, you never heard of it because there was never nothing after that. You know, no cops ever came around me or sniffed around like you see on TV.
Mhm.
It was getting away with it. And even a lot of times, it was control. But I mean, a lot of times we didn't even have sex. A lot of times, sometimes. It was more, I used to say, the hardest, when I was doing the hookers, the hardest thing in the world is to be the hooker. And when I mean be the payer,
Mhm.
right? The out hustle, because they are sharp. You don't understand that because you never was in the, if you would have seen New York City hookers in the 60s, they were sharp. And they would never do anything, ever, until you paid them first. I mean, it was like a religion. But I would get them so greedy by showing so much money. I would show them a wad like $1,000, $1,200. Their eyes would go crazy. And I always appeared innocent, naive, green. I played that act. Like I didn't know what I was doing, you know, I acted afraid around them, you know, we're going to get caught or all this stuff. So in their mind, they're going to rob me. And it was the game to get, most times we went out drinking, I'd get them drinking, get them drunk, get them in a room, have all the sex, and I never paid them. And that was the majority of the thing, to beat them out of their money, because they were going to try to beat me out of it.
Mhm.
I mean, I had a case right here, right on Route 46. I had a girl in there. She was so greedy. She took she was naked from the waist up. She grabbed my pants and ran out of the room with my pants and left her shirt behind. And she runs right into a guy next door. He opens the door, he heard the noise.
You thought she was stealing your wallet? Or stealing your cash?
She was.
Yeah.
She grabbed it. She got about $1,100 from me. So the only one that ever got away. Got my money out of all of them. She did, because I never thought she'd run out without clothes.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm pretending I'm drunk and I'm laying there and everything. Man, she made a beeline for that parking lot.
That's classic.
Oh, I can tell you stories, sir.
I know you can.
But that was mainly what it was. And then, if there was no harm done other than just beating them. I mean, I've had pimps chase. I also got a pimp as a buddy, too. And I can even tell you his nickname, Snooky. He came after me one time. I'm driving up 3rd Avenue, and it must have been one of the girls that I beat out of her money. And all of a sudden, a car pulls up next to me, and the girl's pointing at me to him. So he starts chasing me. So I'm running down 3rd, I'm in the car, driving down 3rd Avenue, not knowing why, and he starts showing a gun. I almost panicked. I mean, I never carried a gun. I got up to 34th, and I got away from him. I went through red lights and everything. I come back to the same area where I picked her up. I see her with the same guy. So I'm watching for her. See, I used to watch the cops. In fact, Linnell Taylor, if you ever talked to her, you know, we used to sit for hours watching the vice cops pick up all the vice girls to see how they do it, how they sit, one cop here, one cop here. We followed them all the way down to central booking, where they took them, what door they went in, what door they came out. One time they arrested her, they stopped in a deli to get all the girls, they wanted coffee, so they brought the girl there. I walked in the deli, and then I'm going, and she's arrested now, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how I can get her out of the deli without, will the cops chase me, leave the other girls, or whatever.
Funny.
We had some time, I mean, it was exciting.
I still don't know if we'll ever figure this one out. But we'll look.
I think the only way is if there's a record in the
I
Paramus.
swear last time we talked about this, Rich, that I went down that road. I don't know if you're right with your years, maybe last time we talked it was in the 60s, and I didn't make them check late enough, I don't remember.
The only reason I say,
I had Montvale go way back, because Montvale's a small town, there's not that,
but if it was, it would be the very early 70s or late 60s. And I didn't move into Ledgewood Terrace in Little Ferry until May of 70. And if I was driving back that way, if I was living in the river, I wouldn't have been driving back that way. So, and also, I wouldn't have been parked, because like I said, I walked all the ways to Westwood, and then I got a bus in Westwood that took me to Route 4. And then I walked along Route 4 to get to that diner. And I don't think I would have been down in that diner if I lived up in Riverville.
Okay.
So I think I was probably 70 or 71, 72.
Nothing says, even if I was able to find it,
Yeah.
nothing says that it's not developed all over, that...
I know, it's probably impossible.
Or that, obviously, we'd have no, who knows how we would even identify anybody in it, I don't even know. But obviously, I'd like to find it, because we would like to put these 3 girls to rest somewhere.
But that would hit the papers, that's what scares me. That you couldn't cover that one up. They found the bodies now.
No, but that doesn't mean that it's you that hits the papers unless you decide to accept
But
responsibility.
then people, when they ask, I thought of it too, then they're going to ask, how did you know it was located over there? Reporters aren't stupid either,
It's a tall order trying to find this.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew last time when we drove you up there that it's just changed so much that it was never going to work.
No.
But we'll try. I'll try it again. The girl that you talked to me about that looks like that actress, Sherry Athlete, right? Do you remember the stuff that you told me?
No. I remember.
I don't want to feed it to you.
No.
Because I want to hear what you remember about it.
I don't remember.
You had good detail on it. You really did.
I remember there was a girl that, the name of the picture was Roswell.
Yeah.
That's the name of the picture she was in. And every time I watched that picture, it reminded me of that girl.
Correct.
Looked exactly like her for some reason.
Exactly what you told
I
me.
don't know. That I remember. I gotta play it back in my head.
Do you remember you told me you followed her from a store in Hackensack?
Sears.
Yeah.
Sears
To a
and
bus
Roswell.
stop.
Sears and Rhodes.
Did that bring it back?
No, I didn't follow her for stuff. I met her in Sears.
Okay.
I seen that she was buying something. She bought something in Sears. She purchased something in Sears, a scarf or something like that. And I followed her out of the store. And she walked down Main Street towards the movie theaters down there. I was walking behind her, seeing where she was going. And she stopped at one of the stores either right before the movies or right after the movies. I was looking in the window and I went up next to her and I started talking to her. And I was trying to get her to go to, if she wanted to go to a movie. And she said no, she had to be home by 10 o'clock or something like that. So I'm trying to figure out how can I get her for some drinks to get some liquor into her or whatever like that. That was right by the movie theaters.
How did you get it?
I told her, I asked her, I got her to agree to go for one drink.
You remember how old she was?
I think I don't know how old I was at the time. I don't know what year it was, but I think she was pretty close to my age. We were, I think the early 20s, if I'm not mistaken. But she was right around my age.
Okay.
I think she told me she was divorced. Not sure. I think she told me she was divorced or split up with her husband or...
Already? In your early 20s?
Yeah, I heard something like that. Split up with her. Or it might have been a boyfriend. I think because we talked about something like that. I don't remember exactly now.
And where'd you end up going?
I got her to go to the Holiday Inn in Middlebury on the Circle there. And that's where I had my car parked.
You had to walk there?
No, we took a bus.
Oh, okay.
No, we took a cab. We went to get a bus and there was no buses that were going down. I was trying to get the bus that, I used to catch a bus in Middlebury to go to New York. So the bus came from up in Hackensack, so I was trying to catch the bus that came through Hackensack that went to Middlebury, and either there was none at that time of night, or I don't know if it was a weekend or not. I don't remember. But we wound up taking a cab. We took a cab to the Little Ferry. I told her I didn't tell her. I didn't want to mention the Holiday Inn itself, as the thing, but I told her there was a nice lounge there. And I said, my car is parked there. Because that's another place I parked my car, right next to the Valley Fair. I parked it in the Holiday Inn parking lot because nobody, your car's anonymous. It could stay there. If I never had to come back for 2 days, it would still be there. And nobody would be saying, what's this car, So I parked a lot of times right there. And when we went into the lounge, there was only like about 10 people and it was really, really empty, I remember. I thought this was good because we sat in the back. But I got the feeling she wasn't going to do nothing, I just, how you can tell, she had 2 drinks. I got a second drink into her. I can tell you one thing. If they have, I can tell you the last meal. I can tell you what's their stomach contents with the pizza.
You ate pizza there?
No, not there. Later on, but we stopped and we got some pizza about 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
I think in Hackensack. But that's where we went. We went for pizza later. So she should have pizza in her stomach.
And then where'd you go?
Now I'm telling you too much. We haven't made no deal together.
We ain't
You got me talking.
Formalized anything.
You got me talking.
Nothing you didn't tell me on the car ride back to Trenton.
I don't remember that.
I gotta show you my notes. Back then I had a BlackBerry. While Jimmy McMorrow was driving, you were in the back seat talking. I was emailing myself on my BlackBerry bullet points of what you were saying, so I wouldn't forget the detail you were giving me.
I remember that because I don't remember telling you about the thing, but I remember one time driving back. I said, he's recording that's what I thought you were doing.
No, I was, yeah, I never
he's recorded one thing.
I was actually typing out.
Myself, I'm going to shut up because
I was typing out.
Yeah, I can see you doing something from the back.
And I didn't want to forget what you were saying because you were giving a lot of detail. So where did you end up taking her, though, after pizza? Where did you end up actually killing her?
For now, I'm going to leave that. We got to still work out a deal, and we got to work.
I understand.
Before I start doing all this.
Well, there's no Miranda, there's no nothing, like we talked about.
I know,
So
right?
I want to see if it matches what I have upstairs in my notes. I want to make sure that your memory hasn't faded in the last 4 years.
My memory has faded a lot.
You remember her, though.
I remember Sherry Apple. That's how I call it.
I had never heard of Sherry Appleby until you told me.
I never knew. I
never heard of the show Roswell until you told me.
The funny thing is the show came out 10, 15 years later.
Yeah.
I think it was in the 90s the show came out. And that's when I remember it. Right as soon as I seen that, I said, that reminds me of that girl. But at that time, I didn't know anything about Sherry Appleby.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember saying she was a dead ringer.
Do you remember where you dumped her?
Yeah.
You do for sure? Town or just... Or you just think you remember just in your head you're seeing it?
You gotta remember, everything was so different back then.
I know.
You know, it was, even in Little Ferry and Lodi, it was all woods. I mean, at night there was no lights, there was, you know, you couldn't see in front of your hand half the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once you got towards Hackensack, it all got lit up. Or towards Little, you know, the circle there. But when you went into the side streets of town, there was no lights, there was no streets. All empty, you know, lots. There was still farmland back then. You know, everything is, you know, boundaries of different towns would blend in one into the other, you know. Back then, you didn't know when you went into the next town. If you didn't see the little sign entering Paramus or entering Saddlebrook or entering Little Ferry or whatever, you didn't know you were in another town. Let me put it that way. So you could be in another town 10 minutes and not realize you were in that town.
Right.
So that's why a lot of times I can't say...
I was in Paramus versus Saddlebrook.
Meanwhile, right. Because
I understand.
it was, you could drive for 15 minutes and not have to even see a house back then sometimes.
So what makes, you just said yes quickly when I asked you, do you know where you dumped her? What makes you say yes then? You just have a vision of it, or do you know what street, or do you know what town?
I think I know pretty close to where I dropped her.
Okay.
I'm not sure though. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not sure.
What the fuck does that mean?
Because when I start thinking about something, then I think, well, maybe that was this one.
Right.
You know, maybe, like I said, now I just remembered we had the pizza. You know, little things like that, you know, just for some reason I'll remember it.
Right.
But, you know,
Well, where do you think you dumped her?
well, now I'm going to keep that.
I'll tell you if you're wrong. How's that?
We're gonna, I think I dumped her in a river or a stream.
Okay. Any idea what
But
town?
I'm not sure if she went in the water or not. It was too dark.
Okay.
I heard a little water. I looked down. I couldn't see if she went in the water. I couldn't even see her.
Mm-hmm.
I went down a steep, like an 8-foot drop. It was very sharp. And the only thing I'll say is it was below Hackensack. If you went down Essex Street, it was after you got out of Hackensack.
Do you remember how she was killed?
Probably asphyxiated. Probably. But that's how I did most of mine.
Right. Do you remember specifically with her?
No.
Okay. So you're just kind of guessing because
I'm saying front when
you're going on the rule of
front.
averages.
Yeah, I mean, I know she wasn't shot. I didn't shoot, you know.
Yeah, no, I know that.
You know, things like that, you know.
Well, like the girl up here, you stabbed, which is not, you know, not your...
That was very unique, and that's only because I panicked. I didn't intend to, and it was a steak knife. It was a steak knife, and the knife broke. That's another fact. If you find the incident, you'll see.
Okay.
That it wasn't a regular knife like a guy. It was a steak knife from one of the places we stopped at. That took the steak knife.
If I told you that girl, the girl that I'm thinking of, was stabbed, not to death, but stabbed one time, does that bring back any memory? It was not by any means what killed her.
See, possibly. See, I used to always fuck around with a knife with them. And that's why I always put the little marks on them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'd stab just never stab him like, but just puncture him sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be possible, but it wouldn't have been like a 5-inch stab wound or anything like that. I would remember that. But you also got to remember, a lot of times I was drunk out of my mind, too.
Right. So you might not remember too.
Or I remember differently,
Yeah. No, and look,
I don't sit there and think about these things. I try not to even think about these things.
well, Rich, some of these things too, you're thinking of, like, if you were to give me everything you got, that somehow I'm gonna put it to dozens of murders all over the place. You see the lack of detail you have on a lot of these things, and even some of the detail, like you said, you think is with one, it might belong to another one.
And I'm being honest.
And I mean, it's easier to think, or maybe not be, this might not be as successful as you think it would be, in terms of my successful meaning on my end. And that's why I project for so much detail, because that's about the only way that you could figure out one case from another.
I told you in the very, very beginning, most of the detail is not going to be detailed. Most of the details be, I dropped this body off at road mark so on the Jersey Turnpike.
Mm-hmm.
And you look up and you'll find a body was dropped there. But now, for me to tell you what girl it was, I can't remember. The one I dropped off way out in Long Island. I remember driving out there. I remember I could go to the street, go down there, I went there, I turned the car, and there was a fence there, and I threw over the fence. But to tell you, was it the one I got hitchhiking over here in Paramus, or was it, until I know more facts, or I see a picture, or something distinctive, or something, there was just too many. I just don't remember. I can tell you how I always did these things, but, see, you might think the number I threw out, 80, is being a lot. But for every one that I killed, I'd done this to 30 other girls.
Mm-hmm.
For every one, hundreds. I was out there every night, like an animal. And most, like I said, I didn't kill and everything. So I have those pictures in my mind too. I'll remember funny things, and I say, oh no, she's still there, she's still walking around or whatever. Like Linnell, Linnell was with me for like 3 months.
Yeah.
I didn't kill her.
I think longer than that.
Was it?
I think longer, yeah.
That's the one we went and saw?
Yeah.
Down in Baltimore?
Mm-hmm.
But yet I remember her last name was Ziegler. Now, how do I remember? I just remember.
Yeah.
I remember sitting out in front of her. She took me to her house in Teaneck. We sat out and looked at her family's house. I remember that. But I don't remember ever hitting her. Ever. I think she was lying there, because I just didn't. And then you gotta remember, I had regular girlfriends. I was juggling a girlfriend here, my wife here, girlfriend here, Linnell was here, I'd go from one to, it was a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd leave work at 11, I'd go up and I'd pick Jean Connolly up at Montefiore Hospital. I'd take her down to one of the bars, Flanagan's or something. We'd spend till 2 o'clock, take her back and then go over to Barbara Lucas's house, spend an hour or two there, then I'd drop by Linnell. And then I'd go home, and I'd be home by 5:30.
Mm.
And this was a constant thing. And before all that, I'd go out scouting the hookage, all the strolls and everything, and if something popped up there, then it was a thing of chance.
What made you on certain nights say go see your girlfriend versus end up going out and looking to rape somebody? Was there anything that triggered it? Like, what made you want to hunt on a certain night?
I didn't ever say I'm going to go out and rape somebody. I very rarely raped anybody.
Well, what made you, like, let's say, what would make you go scout looking for to hurt a girl? Versus, is there anything that happened during the day? Like, is there something you can look back on and go, you know what?
Are you trying to be a psychologist?
I'm just interested. I'm actually intrigued. Because when you brought up the girlfriends you had and the things that kept you busy, it was like, what then did you end up being, what happened like on a certain day versus that would make you be like, I want to do this tonight, versus I'm going to go by Barbara Lucas' house, or I'm going to go over here?
I was an animal.
So you can't point to some particular thing that was like, on the days that I did this, I would get mad at somebody, or I'd be...
No, nothing like, I went scouting hookers every day, 7 days a week, 10 years, 15 years, every day. If I went to pick up my car, that's how I met her now. I went to pick up my car, had it on 9th Avenue and 42nd Street, and she was right in Times Square. And I just walked there, I talked to her, and I got her to come back and wait outside my job until I got off work. Things just like that, you know. But I was always looking for an opportunity, or... Like, that's what I'm saying, it was so... I just had the knack I could pick up women. I don't know what it was. I'm not a great looking guy, or... I don't know what it was, but I could walk a block. I could see a girl walking down a block, and within the block, know if I could get her into a motel room or something. You know, I'd go out for Baskin Robbins and pick up a girl just right on the street between my job and Baskin Robbins, which is only 2 blocks, and have her come sit in my car and wait for me 3-4 hours until I got off work. And then, you know, things would happen. But every time when I got off work at 11 o'clock, I'd go, one of the strolls was pretty close to my work, and I'd always go down there. I'd make my little routine, I'd see. I'd always look for new girls. You know, a lot of the old-time girls never paid attention to me because they know I didn't spend no money with them. You know, so, you know, I never spent a dime, actually. That was my truth. But then by 12 o'clock, I'd have to be up at the hospital, and then I'd come down, I'd be in the bars, you know. But this was 7 nights a week. I drank 7 nights a week. I went out with these girls every night. What I did to my poor wife. She didn't have a clue.
No, well, probably
They
better.
never do, but...
It's probably better that she didn't. Probably better she didn't.
Well, she thought I was cheating on her.
Right.
You know, she always accused me of that, because, I mean, I never came home at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I come home drunk every night.
Yeah.
And I worked 7... That's the thing, too, I went to work 2 years straight without a day off. Christmas, I was making so much, that's why I always had money. I was making so much money. I started working $57 a week there, and my first year, I made over $7,000. It was like $5,000 in overtime and $2,000 regular pay. We didn't even have to ask for overtime. We just sign your name on any shift you wanted to work. 7 days a week, the machines never stopped.
That's great.
But if I never worked shift work, I'd have never gotten in trouble. I was getting off work at 11 o'clock. When I first got married, I'd go home. You know, my wife, she worked, so she's asleep already. I'd sit there and do it alone. So I started going out to the bar and started partying. And what happens in New York, everything opens up at midnight.
When did you start working there?
Working where?
In New York. That was what year?
64.
Oh, that early?
Yeah.
You were driving in or taking the bus? How were you getting in?
Well, in 64, I worked for MetLife. I was driving it. I must have been 17. 64, 46, 56, 17, yeah. And I worked for MetLife for 2 years, then I went over to Blue Cross. But I always worked the shift work in Blue Cross. And when you get out of work at 11 o'clock in New York City, all the nurses from all the hospitals get off work at the same time, and all the cops get off work and the firemen. So the bars are empty at 10 o'clock, and 11 to 12 o'clock,
They just fill up.
200 people come in. And I could stay out all night, so that was one of the reasons I could pick up these broads. I could stay and drink all night long, and I had money to spend.
You sleep during the day like you do now?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I never needed money. I'd go home at 5 o'clock, 5:30, and by 7 I was up. I never needed that much sleep. I wasn't a guy that I never slept 8 hours, I don't think, in my life. Now I don't sleep more than an hour at a time. I sleep 5 or 6 times. But the city is, you know, if I didn't work shifts, I don't think I would have ever done anything. And the drinking didn't help. No, I don't blame anything on the drinking, but...
No, listen, you obviously, you had it in you. There was
Well, if I was the type like you, I'm only assuming, I don't know how you drink, but a normal person where after 4 or 5 drinks I was loaded, then I couldn't have done nothing. But I can go in, I can go in and drink 15, 20 drinks and then be completely normal. I mean, go out driving around, driving all over the city. You know, I had one accident on the George Washington Turnpike, George Washington Bridge. But many nights I never know how I got home. I don't know if I took the bridge home or the tunnel. I could never remember. But I was always, I beat a ticket right here in Hackensack because I was going 95 miles an hour. And the judge felt sorry for me. He says, any man that drives 95 miles an hour can't be that drunk. And I hit the thing, the person out at 1.0 right on the nose. So it could have went either way at that time. I don't know if it's slower now. But it was 1.1, it was 1.0.
It's 0.08 now.
We found me innocent. The cop went crazy. Went crazy. But I could drive. Never had an accident, other than the one time.
So what do you think is going to help you to put detail to some of these things? I mean, I don't want to show you pictures, or I don't want to, it's really just talking about it to me seems like detail comes back to you. I mean, you had a lot of detail on the Vogel, the Nancy Vogel one, the one that we got. Like, what made that one stick in your head so much?
I tell you, because I went out with her. I hate to say it, she was a slut. And I don't want to, she's dead now and everything. I mean, she was a nice woman, but she was very unhappy. She picked me up. And I went out with her about 4 or 5 times. We had drinks right in the Holiday Inn there, because she used to go to the Valley Fair. And we go over into the Valley, into the Holiday Inn. Because that place was anonymous. You go into that lounge, it was never full, it was always empty. And you could stay by yourself in a corner booth. But I didn't have really that, I didn't remember. I remembered basically where I dropped it. That's what I remember in most of them. Like I say, See, there's also cases that if I tell you the truth, you'll think I'm lying.
Like what? What does that mean?
I think I told you once before that just by walkout, but just by happenstance, you can kill somebody one way and it'll appear to be in a different way. And some of the people that you will say were assisticated weren't assisticated. I never can pronounce that word.
Asphyxiated.
Asphyxiated. I can't say it. I don't know why. I can't say that word.
Strangled, choked, whatever. Smothered.
But, and if I tell you the truth how they really were killed, you're going to say full of shit. Because the death certificate is going to say a different way.
Okay. So how would they be killed then?
They were drowned.
How? How would a drowning not look like a drowning?
Because if you drop a body in the summer, in the heat, all the water must evaporate from the body if the body's not found right away. So now there's no water in the lungs or anything anymore. And the only reason I read it, some reports in paper a couple of times, this girl was sophisticated, and I didn't know. And they didn't realize they were drowned.
I can't speak to how exact the science of autopsies were back in the 60s or 70s, so
I bet you even now they couldn't tell.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not.
You leave a body out where it starts to decay, after 2 or 3 days, you can't tell it was drowned. Because there's no water in the lungs. The lungs, everything's collapsed already.
We don't have that, well, at least here in Bergen County, we don't really have that many decaying bodies like that, or unsolved, I should say. Not many of our cold cases have anything to do with decaying bodies. So I don't know if that's the case of anything that's here in Bergen. I can't speak to any of the other counties.
Well, I can tell you for a fact, it is here in Bergen.
I don't remember any of them that are, certainly not the case. But there's
Well,
certain...
I'm just using that word, but I'm saying if it's in the summer and it's left in the heat, I'm assuming what happens is all the water dries up. So there is no water in the lungs that would determine, and it would be the farthest thing you would think somebody's, you find them in a lot, you wouldn't ever even think about drowning.
What would make you drown somebody and then bring them back in the car? Why wouldn't you leave them in the water?
Because they weren't drowning.
Or a bathtub, whatever, right? So,
Oh, you gotta get them out of the bathtub, don't you?
yeah, I guess it depends where you are.
Right. Like I said, I did things in all different ways. But I told you that in the very beginning.
You did tell me that, I remember it. You did tell me that at the very
Because
beginning.
I always said, you know, this is the perfect murder. I mean, they can't tell, obviously. Then, you know, when I thought about it, I said, well, you know, the heat dries everything up, the body's all dry. Why would you think somebody's drowned? The only way to tell is water in the lungs. So if it's, you know, the lungs are flat, you think just smothered. And there are cases right there.
Well, you have to enlighten me, Ken, so I can look at them.
That's not the way.
You have to enlighten me, because I don't know that I believe.
But that's what, I know. But that's why I'm saying, if I tell you the truth, you'll think I'm lying, so I can tell you a lie and you'll think I'm telling the truth.
Not at all, not at all. Yeah, I need you to tell me what you remember, that's all. I mean, and if it marries up to something, it marries up to something. If it doesn't, then it doesn't, or, you know. You know?
No.
So what do you think? When you keep saying when we come to an agreement, what is it in the agreement? What does that mean? Tell me what that means in your mind. Besides the obvious that I know already, which is you're looking for it not to get back to your children.
Well, that's the main thing. But we got to talk what I'm going to get out of it.
The satisfaction of righting a wrong.
No,
That's what you get out of it. And I think you're almost at that point. What do you want for dinner tonight? Let's start with the simple. What do we eat tonight? Because we're getting off track here. Go ahead. What are you thinking for dinner tonight? What kind of food?
really don't know.
Nothing striking your fancy at the moment?
Everything, nothing. You know, it's like, I don't need anything expensive, you know.
No, that's good, because I didn't really want to splurge on you, because you haven't given me anything.
Good. Kentucky Fried Chicken would be good.
Really? I don't eat that.
Really?
No, I'm not joining you for Kentucky Fried.
No, me neither. No, what else? You make some suggestions.
Thank you, bro. I gotta take a leak. Excuse me, man. This is the worst diagram I've ever seen.
I thought you were supposed to be such a good drawer.
It made me a great Christmas card one year.
I can't even pick up anything anymore. Every 10 minutes my hands...
What, the carpal tunnel?
They say this